Hello, my name is Holly Hancock, and I'm a double major as a BFA with a concentration in photography and BA sociology here at San Jose State University. As we're coming close to the 2-year mark since the killing of George Floyd on May 25th, 2020, many voices have been heard from one of the many historically powerful rises of the Black Lives Matter movement. The George Floyd case is one of the many notorious media outbreaks where there was a significant reevaluation of legal policy and practices within law enforcement. Moments after the final verdict was placed on the offending police officer as guilty, the nation took a breath of relief. It almost seems as if racially motivated police brutality has dwindled, a thing of the past. But in reality, inequality continues today. It's just not, it just hasn't sparked national attention. Mass media presents an everlasting role within society as a global form of communication that quantifies and qualifies humanity. Today, my research will focus on news media, which brings us to the question: has the representation of African American and Black people in news media changed systemic racism since the final verdict on the George Floyd case? Systemic racism is when elite status influences racial inequality among minority groups on a societal level, often subtle and unconscious. As a little recap, on May 25th, 2020, Floyd was suspected of using a counterfeit $20 bill. 4 police officers responded to the call, one of which was Derek Chauvin, who held his knee to Floyd's neck for about 9 minutes, losing consciousness, and then later to be pronounced dead. This, of course, sparked national outrage and protest against police brutality. Eventually, on April 20th, 2021, the final verdict on Derek was guilty with 3 charges of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter. A total of 8 articles from 2 major mainstream media outlets, the New York Times and Los Angeles Times, were restricted within a 14-day period following the major events of the killing and the final verdict. Article coding was used to analyze and annotate for patterns of literary structure, style, and rhetoric. Finally, academic concepts and ideologies of media discourse by scholars such as Van Dyke and Shell Jenkins were applied. In highlight, both media outlets presented more representation of minority groups as the final verdict compared to beforehand. However, among all 8 of the articles, there was still a prevalent focus on elite groups. In comparison of the 2 quotes below, after the killing, they both present implications based on stereotype towards certain groups. In this case, it's stereotyped that many people who are Black suffer from the condition called excited delirium, where sudden death is a result of aggression and distress. What the articles don't state is that this is a condition that is socially constructed. It's not a medical term, an actual medical term. It is constructed from a history of police brutality on Black people. It suggested that such behavior is due to stimulant drugs furthering the stereotype on Black people that Black people are often on drugs. With the way that it's worded in both articles, there's an underlying authoritarianism, elitism of a police officer expressing concern, or in other words, a form of local semantics where there is an implied stereotype and a reversal blame. Articles that followed the final verdict did present a wider audience of quotation from as many as 8 non-elite people in one article. However, it is to be assumed that a few are non-elite from this one article, where quotation was very short and vague. Stating one's occupation, race, or ethnicity reflects social cognitions of the prevalence of white elite perspective and dominance. Governor Gavin Newsom's exact quotation was found to be in both media outlets. As an attempt to deny or mitigate racism. Finally, it is to note that all of the articles following the final verdict present a strong focus on policy. While the articles portray a strong representation towards racial inequality and policy change, in the end, elite groups are the ones to initiate change. Whenever such events occur, we automatically have a certain expectation towards power groups within the legal system, furthering an ever-present focus on the elite, regardless of how many people of color are quoted and represented in an article. Thank you. Here are my references and data sources. And then here's my contact information below if you want to get a hold of me. Thank you for listening.